Okay, season 2, it's time for our first presentation. Let's give it up for Kevin.
Hello, guys. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
And I have to push the video too, but okay, here I just found. Hello, guys. Yeah, my name is Kevin, and today I will gonna talk about the steel making process, specific case about the Pohang Steel Works. Okay. Yeah, here are some content. Yeah, it is very long, but I will explain very easily as possible with some pictures. And let's start. First, here comes some background. As you can see, the POSCO has three divisions like this, and you guys already know I work in Pohang Works, and the area is very huge. Can you guys guess how bigger than compare with our Sinchon campus?
How much bigger is what?
Three
The
times.
total property? Total property?
Yeah, property. Three times?
Three times.
100 times.
Actually, bigger than 11 times. And
those circles are pretty big.
oh, really? Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Maybe this picture is taken
Wow.
a few, maybe decades ago, but it's located in the seaside. And as you can see, the Pohang Works consists of three big area: the iron making and steel making and rolling making area. So I will explain specifically later. And this is the overall process. As I explained, there are iron making area and steel making and continue casting and rolling area. So every area they charged separately. And here is the iron making process. When we stack this kind of iron ore and the coal. Oh, yeah, here it comes. This is kind of the sticker, and we pull together to the furnace. And in the furnace, there are layers like this. And when we input some high temperature air, the coal is burned, and finally we got the molten iron, just like this. This is very almost 1500 Celsius degree temperature, and we call this molten iron, not a steel, because it contains a lot of impurities like carbon or sulfur. So after the steel making process, we can get a pure steel. Yeah, this is a steel making process. By using this kind of torpedo car, it look like a potato. We carry some iron to this steel making place and pour to the looks like a jar stove, and we breathe the pure oxygen into this stove, and the carbon or the sulfur is burned out through the do this steel making process, and then we can get the consist of the material and the adjust temperature by what the customer needs. And the next step is continuous casting process. As you can see, this is kind of the mold. So we can solidify the liquid to this intermediate product. We can call this semi-product. So by the shape of this semi-product, we can call it slab, bloom, and billet. And as you can see the picture, this is the real shape of the slab. Because this is continuous casting, we have to cut through the kind of the laser cut, I think. And the last part is rolling process. When we reheat the semi-product, we can easily extend by passing through the rolling mills. We call this kind of mill. It consists of 2, 3, or big rolls, and we can extend to make it thin and extend to the to produce this final product. We call this hot rolling cold and heavy thick plate and wire rod kind of things. And I know it's really boring, so I ready some clip to explain about the product.
This hot rolled product is used widely as construction materials and pipes in various industries. Cold rolled products, which are created by making hot rolled products thinner at room temperature, are used in general appliances, barrels, and automobile frames. Coated steel, which is created by coating cold rolled products with zinc, is used in high-end appliances, office equipment, and automobile exteriors. Electrical steel plates, which improves electromagnetic properties by adding silicon during the steel manufacturing process, are used in transformers and motors. Steel plates, which are thick and rectangular in shape, are used in large structures such as buildings, vessels, and oil pipelines. When a billet is heated over 1000 degrees Celsius and passed through a roll with a round hole, it turns into a thin and long wire rod, which is used as automobile tire cords, wires for bridges, piano strings, and underwater cables. At the stainless steel plants, which is equipped with additional production facilities, nickel and chrome are added to steel to produce stainless steel products, which are used in kitchen appliances, medical equipment, exterior walls, and roofs of buildings. As you can see, POSCO steel products are used in every part of our daily lives and in countless industries, ranging from smartphones in our hands to satellites floating in space. Pohang Works is a next-generation eco-friendly steelworks driving innovations in steel technology, leading in the production of high-quality products and the development of new center that monitors the production process 24/7, and an environmental center that monitors the emissions of environmental pollutants in real time.
Yeah, I think it's enough to explain about the product. Yeah, so this page is kind of conclusion. Actually, in Pohang Works, there are more than 50 factories. So every factory, there are kind of the operating room, or in each factory, there are average 5 operating room just like this. And in the future, they control by just one control room, and everything is done automatically, and maybe AI kind of that system help to automate the facilities like this. And yeah, this is the epilogue. Actually, this is kind of the steel making process is very boring and the kind of traditional one, but as the video says, it's very essential. We call the steel is the industry's rice. So I feel proud to be a part of that factory or that company. So and as you can see, Actually, this is kind of the drawing, and in the front door, they said resource are limits, but the creativity is unlimited. So it's a very meaningful word, I think. So anyway, thank you for giving me this chance to introduce my company. Yeah, it's done.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Any questions from the audience?
I know.
No. I have several questions, but does anyone else have any questions? Jessica, why? Okay, my question is first to Jessica. Why did you type? Oh, I'm sorry. Inyoung. Okay. Donghee asked a question. So yeah, we have some in the chat. We can. How about this? We should speak our question, not type it, unless like the speaker is talking. So Donghee, could you go ahead and just verbally ask your question?
Okay. Thank you for Kevin. Recently, POSCO share price has really soaring a lot. So, is there any bonus or incentive for you?
I really hope, but not mentioned yet. So I will let you know if I have a bonus and treat you some soju later.
Thank you.
I think he would rather have a round of golf on you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Donghee. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think there are growing voice for bonus socially these days.
Oh, really?
Like SK Hynix, like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I really hope so.
I think POSCO is a great company, global company. Kevin, you just explain POSCO use coil, caucus.
Oh, yeah.
Focus to make iron. But I saw the news. I heard the news. Your company will use hydrogen instead of caucus for the future. Is it right?
Really? Actually, maybe you heard about the Finex. It is the first process which we don't use this kind of sintering process or caucus process. So instead of this, the Finex is directly use this kind of material to burn the furnace. So that is, we insist that is the first process of the world, and it will reduce the cost and of course saving the environment.
Yeah.
And I heard that the hydrogen is another process, but
issue.
not using the real word, I think.
Thank you. Do you think POSCO is an eco-friendly company?
Yeah, we try to. Actually not, of course not, because we I always wonder, am I okay with that kind of factories? But they do a lot of effort to reduce the emission of the bad things and to don't to make kind of noisy to the near side. And we put a lot of money actually to reduce that kind of pollutions. So I think it will be better
Yeah,
in the future.
thank you. Great company.
And
Kevin, I have a
versus-
question about competition. You know, steel is such an essential, as you say, it's the rice of you said it's the rice of industry, something like that.
yeah, industry rice, rice of
Industry
industry.
rice. Yeah, meaning like almost every industry depends on steel in some way. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So something that's so essential, I'm curious about government regulation, and I'm curious about competition. Is there,
Mhm.
don't he mention that the value of its stock has increased? What is the market share of POSCO, and how is government involved in regulating so that it's not a monopoly in some way?
Actually, the POSCO was a monopoly company, but
It
you
is?
know, in the past, but few years ago, the Hyundai group made a steel company too, Hyundai Jecheol. So now it's not, but the Hyundai's steel is only used for the Hyundai's car or Hyundai
Mm,
ship, and so market share is very uh, almost I thought 70% of in Korea, but nowadays the China's steel company they produce a lot of raw cost material most
mm,
so that is kind of the threaten. So
mm.
we try to make a difference because to make a higher level of the steel, like we call that kind of giga steel, or so we try to make a differentiate with them. And in Asia, the Japan steel we call yeah 신일본, and that is the top steel company, but we almost follow, and maybe we can be the one in Asia. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's right.
So along those lines, you know, it's an international company. You mentioned Asia. Like Korea is pretty, as I understand, I mean, there's always new construction, but there are more opportunities for it's like exporting in maybe less developed countries, I would imagine, like Southeast Asia.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a fair statement? Okay.
Actually,
So
all around the world. Yeah,
all around the world.
yeah, Europe and the States.
Are you talking about POSCO right now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so there's demand for its services all around the world.
yeah.
I guess I'm also curious about in the factory. You said there are 50 factories in Korea, right? About 50 factories?
Yeah, factory in Pohang works.
Or in Pohang?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
Well, oh, just in Pohang works. There are 50 factories. So how much manpower is needed, I guess, is my question. I saw the big pictures of all the, you know, big machines and things. How much supervision and manpower is necessary every day?
In Pohang works, there are 7,000 people's work, and the whole company there are 20,000 people's work. So maybe 7,000 in Pohang and 7,000 in Hwangyang, and the last part is located in the Seoul, who work for the marketing or the kind of finance. And yeah, the 7,000 in 7,000, maybe around 5,000 people are kind of the operating the machine or kind of the driver, and the last of 2,000 is work for the maintenance peoples.
Okay. Which one are you again?
Me,
Yes.
charge of the maintenance part.
Maintenance. Okay.
That's right.
Well, great. Those are my questions. Anyone else? All right. Well, how about some evaluation? Let's have some feedback. Everyone can say at least one thing, I'm sure.
I have a question.
Okay, question. Namgi, go ahead.
I heard that POSCO products were selected for Apple Watch or iPhone. Is it true?
I know we made a product for Samsung and LG, but I didn't heard about iPhone, Apple. I will research.
Okay. I
Kevin,
saw
I'm
the-
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Namgi, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw the news before, so
Mhm.
so what is the competitiveness of POSCO is my question.
Competitiveness to produce a high quality steel in low
Low
cost.
price.
No, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kevin, I have one more question. How big of a threat is automation to the manpower that you mentioned earlier? Because that seems like a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. How much of it is being automated and developing as far as technology is removing the need for all those people?
That is a big issue because all workers are worried about replacement by the machine. But the company said if there are kind of the automate the machine, the people will find another creative job, so there are no one who will losing the job. But I expect maybe 20 or 30 years later, the 50 will cut off. We will cut off the employment, I think. I just expected that just kind of half people are not.
Okay.
Or
The workforce will be reduced by 50%.
Yeah, I think so.
In about 30 years. Yeah. But there's a lot of hope in the epilogue, like you said. Resources are limited, but creativity is unlimited. And I think that in the big picture, that's the history of industry is, when jobs are lost or not necessary, then new jobs are always created. Because if you think about it, jobs are simply an exchange of labor for, exchanging labor for money. And wherever there's always going to be a need for some kind of service, right? Some kind of labor. Okay, I'm sorry to talk too much as usual. Anyone else? Does anyone have some feedback? Let's get some feedback. We have about 5 minutes to go. Evaluation time.
I think it was very good and very easy to understand producing the iron. And I lived not far from the Pohang when I was young.
Oh, really?
Listen to your presentation. I remember going a tour to POSCO when I was in school. Yeah. I heard your company's president Jung Choi
Yes.
was reappointed a few days ago. I hope Kevin will take the position later. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Actually, I really didn't know how big was the steel company and how it was really hard for me to figure out how big was the factory was, but he was really easy to compare it to our campus. And it was kind of easy to me to understand how big it was. And also in AMA, during the AMA, I asked him that if I listen to your presentation, can I make the steel? And he said yes, but I really don't think so. But anyway, it was kind of an easy and understanding presentation, I guess.
Thank you, Jessica. Anyone else? So Donghee, and then how about Donghee, Namgi, and then I'll give my feedback, and we'll be done. Donghee, go ahead.
Kevin is really handsome guy and has a good point of view to the industries he works, and so I always, thanks to him, he gave us a very good insight to understanding the industries. So really good presentation, I think. Thank you.
Namgi.
Also, I didn't know much about the iron, but thank you for your easy explanation. And yes, thank you.
Okay, Kevin, I'll say real quickly since we're running out of time. As always, your presentations have a good mix of photographs and diagrams. I thought that the pictures matched very well with the diagrams you're showing us. As Jessica mentioned, you referred to the campus to give us an idea of how big the I forget what it's called, Pohang Works it's called, it is. And I thought that your video clip was very good because it was not too long, right? You don't want to make a video dominate your presentation. You were the one speaking most of the time, but it was very helpful because it answered a lot of my questions about what are the actual uses of the steel. That video was very well chosen. How would I improve? Yeah, I think titles can be a really good way to make an impression. Your title was very straightforward, steel making process, but as you mentioned, you're afraid of people maybe being bored. And I think it would be helpful to make a title that's a little bit more appealing in some way, some maybe mysterious or connected to real life, you know, like I don't know. I like the quote about rice, you know, that something like that in the title would have been interesting. And then we find out later that the reason why you mentioned rice is because steel is like the industry's rice. I thought that the diagrams were useful, but it went kind of fast, and I wasn't, like Jessica said, I wasn't able to still kind of understand maybe the process. So it really helps to use like comparisons. You know, for example, the rolling, it reminded me of rolling cookie dough. You know, the literally like how you flatten it out, and maybe that's not actually how it's similar. Maybe that's not a similar. Maybe that's not accurate, I guess. But some kind of comparison to everyday activities or things will be helpful to understand like what's going on in this process, you know? So maybe it was just too much information, I guess. One tip about the question and answer, I thought it was interesting when In-Young talked about environmentally friendly. Most of us get defensive. I think we all are indoctrinated to believe that if you are not eco-friendly, you are, you know, some kind of bad company that's evil. And my response to that is, I think we have to look at cost and benefit. always, meaning that, of course, we want to be more eco-friendly, but what is the cost? Meaning, like, if we, let's say we shut down half the productivity of your steel, then the cost would be all of the applications that you talked about in the video. We might have fewer of those things. For example, we can't produce as much, or whatever alternative is being proposed for power, right? For energy, like, what's the cost? Is it simply true that we can use renewables, seamlessly? Well, I'm pretty sure if you look into it even a little bit, the answer is no. They're not very practical yet. They're not very cost effective at all. So there are all kinds of problems. So whenever people mention like eco-friendly and stuff like that, again, I think it's important to acknowledge we all have that goal. But right now, you can't simply say like we need to cut back on the fumes. There's a reason why, we have to kind of pick, are we going to have these goods that increase our life standard, or are we going to, have these pollutants that we've had for a long time where the science is unclear exactly how much damage it's going to cause in the long term? And that's another point you can make, is we just don't know. So I don't accept the idea that people are saying in mainstream media, and a lot of academia that assume that everything is about climate change, and we need to conform everything and just, have more government regulations to enforce that kind of thing. I'm not sure that most experts would even agree with that if they had a voice. So thank you very much, Kevin. Our time is up. How about one last applause?
Yeah. Thank you.
And, yeah, you can stop recording.